So what's today's episode?
Today's episode is on New Year's resolutions.
What? This happens to be a new year, so perfect timing?
Perfect timing.
I don't have one.
It's okay. Hold off.
Okay.
Because I had like a little pre-show banter, but just because I thought that's what we were doing.
This is what we're doing right now. This is a pre-show.
We've been
This is the pre-show. Yeah,
Oh,
we've
this
been
is
bantering.
No,
This is it, bro. We're chilling right now.
This is it.
this is
This
different.
is the best it's going to get.
I don't like it.
Let's try it out.
It's not that funny. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. What's up, fellas? How's your list going?
What list?
List.
Should I be checking it twice?
Yeah, no, man. Your New Year's resolution list.
Oh, I don't do resolutions.
Yeah,
that's
me
not
neither.
my ministry.
What? Man, run the intro. Boom.
That
What
was
do you
so quick.
Cut it.
I thought you had like a thing like
No,
you were
no,
gonna
that's
go
it.
off of that. You were like,
No,
I
it's
think
it.
there's more into that,
That's it.
but it was perfect. Run the intro.
Welcome
To the I'm Not Dumb, But
podcast where we won't claim to have the answers to life's deepest questions
but we'll give you an exciting journey.
into the realms of knowledge you never knew you needed,
might be mainstream.
but not common knowledge. From artificial intelligence to conspiracy theories, no topic is too taboo for us to explore. Let's get curious together. On this episode of the I'm Not Dumb But podcast, why can't we stick to our New Year's resolutions? Whether you make New Year's resolutions or not, after this episode, you'll be equipped with the techniques to accomplish them. And if you're the type that thinks that New Year's resolutions are dumb, well, then I wish for you more of those extended car warranty phone calls from robots. My name is Caesar, joined by Chris,
Yo.
Rob,
Year.
and Victor.
How y'all doing?
What's up, fellas?
I can't wait to be equipped with the techniques to keep on to my New Year's resolutions.
I am a New Year's resolution hater.
I love it.
I'm a hater resolution.
I love it.
Why? They're so productive.
Because I live in the present. I live in the now. Okay, and if I want to change my life, I will do it now. I won't have to wait till the New Year's.
You
if
can
I ever
change
choose to
it. You can change it. But why start something now when you can push it off until the future?
The future.
The future?
The future.
Because I live in the now. You live in the future.
I live in the future. I am from the future.
I'm in the present. And presents are meant to be open.
Bro, remember, there is no present. Once you say the present is the past. Think about that one.
That's a Kanye
Whoa.
quote. Kanye said that, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure he said that. After he sold me a Jeezy, I'm pretty sure he said that.
A Jeezy?
Is that what it is? What are the shoes called?
A Yeezy?
I don't even know.
Easy.
That's what it is.
Easy. Yeah.
Jeezy.
It's not a Spanish Y.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
I know we talked about it in one of our other pods, but do you guys make New Year's resolutions?
I used to, but I realized it was useless and like I completely forget about it, and yeah, so
Cut his mic, please. Like, fucking up my flow. Just kidding.
Why would it be useless?
like I don't remember what I wrote down on the list, and I don't really look back. So I tried to remember everything like from my memory, but
Then why did you write it down if you're not going to look back and read it?
dude, I don't know.
Would you write it on a whiteboard?
Chris went to the beach, wrote his list on sand, and said, I will remember.
Put it in an Etch-a-Sketch and then fucking shook the shit out of it.
And then wakes up in the morning and is like, where's my list? Can I ask you a serious question? Do you have a vision board?
No,
Whoa, you don't have a vision
That's
board?
What time do you wake up in the
Oh my
morning?
God. You don't know.
guys, that's a question. Not this again.
The keys to success is waking up before everyone else wakes
Before
up.
the sun wakes up, you wake up.
Before the world wakes up.
Before you go to bed, you need to vision where you want to be 25 years from now. And then you need to play it all back right before you go to bed.
How much time do you put in your day to meditate?
If it's not 5 hours, you're not doing it right.
I think the only time Chris is meditating is during our podcast.
Don't go to sleep until you succeed.
You, Victor, you don't like it. You don't like them either.
I just don't like pushing stuff off. If I feel like if I'm into something and I should do it now. I shouldn't wait till the new year.
I respect that. Rob, what about you, man?
I've tried New Year's resolutions, and I don't do them.
Like, I don't do breathing. Like, breathing just happens.
Like Chris, like I'll think of something and then I'll do it for like 2 weeks and then I won't do it anymore. But what I have started doing in the past few years, and that's been effective, is picking something not to do. So for the first month of the year, I always not eat a ton of sweets or candies or whatever. Then the second month, I'll pick something not to do. I find that removing something from my life is easier than adding something. And I find that it's been beneficial.
The past couple of years, I started doing them. I haven't completed them, but I have started doing them, like the usual ones: eat healthier, go to gym more consistently. I've tried actually to read more. And that, I think 2 years ago, I set out to read like 12 books. And I actually accomplished it.
You read 12 books?
Yeah, bro.
You read 12 full books?
I don't think I've read 12 books in my lifetime.
Which is why I did
That's
it.
impressive.
I accomplished that 2 years ago.
That's like one book a week.
What?
Yes.
I need
yes, it is.
What?
He maths good.
That's pretty good. 1 year, my resolution was to read 3 to 5 books, and I did like 3 to 4. So I thought it was pretty good.
3 to 4 a day?
3
The whole year.
He reads a page in a book
He's
and
the
then
fastest
just
reader. Chris just opens it up and says, "Yeah, that's good. That's good." Yeah, man. Like I tried doing it last year. It didn't go so well. So a little quick by the numbers: 38% of U.S. adults make New Year's resolutions each year, and about 59% of 18 to 34-year-olds make resolutions, making it the largest demographics to set these goals. The most popular resolution is to exercise, about 48%, and the top 3 are all health-related. So 23% quit the first week, 36% make it past the first month, and unofficially, the second Friday in January is known as Quitter's Day.
Oh, yeah?
Only quitters quit.
I got a question for you guys. What do you guys think is the percentage of people that actually keep their resolutions at the end of the year?
Oh, I would say like 5%.
I'll say 5 too.
I'd say 1%.
Well, you guys are all wrong. It's actually 9%.
Really?
Oh, good for us. Good for people.
Wow, that's a win.
Yeah, 8 to 9%. Keep it.
This is unofficially, right? So someone could be lying. 4% is probably lying.
People don't lie.
This information I found from InsideOutMastery.com. Create a life you love. And Inside Mastery. If you guys want to create a partnership with a podcast you love, hit us up, please.
I think you need to hit them up.
But yeah, so this guy, he did a research. He kind of compiled a whole bunch of stuff together, and this is what he got. So I think the 8 to 9% is probably a pretty good figure. I know Victor doesn't do it, but why do you guys think people make New Year's resolutions?
Because they want to be better. I think it's easier to start something when you have a place to start. Like most people probably just feel like, I'm in the middle of everything and I'll just start it whenever I'll get to it. And now's not a good time. So I'll do it at this one particular time where everything starts fresh. Yep. And then that sounds like an easier idea.
It's like bookends. I mean, you have a date that we like to say that everything starts over again. So people see that as a transformative moment in their lives where this is a time that I can start over again.
But you know, another reason why I think things are easier to start is during the holidays, ain't much going on. Like everything's kind of down, everything's kind of lull. It's not very busy. So you have like this small window where you're like, wow, I could really do this. And then as soon as everything starts ramping up at the end of January, you're like, fuck this. I can't.
Actually, I think it's the opposite.
Yeah. Well, I have a counterpoint to that, but I want to know, what exactly do you mean by lull?
I mean, just like work is always, you're probably always taken off in the holidays. Not many people are in. If there is something going on, it's probably canceled or moved into the new year. I just feel like at the end of the year, there's not many people around and you're always just working, like you're off.
When you're off, you can like read books and stuff. So they go, oh, this is doable. Maybe I could, set as my goal.
Because I'm just wondering if the trends that we have or the trends that Caesar's reading off coincide with Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. Because right now they're in their summers just starting. Even though it's the end of the year, they're fucking going to the beach, doing all outdoors activities and shit like that.
Most of the information that I got is based on the U.S.
Okay.
This is a Northern Hemisphere website.
All right, fuck everyone else in the world. This is Northern Hemisphere only.
But realistically, I feel like starting something in the New Year's really arbitrary, right? That's just like an arbitrary date. But I feel like a lot of the times why people decide to start something in the New Year is because of the holidays. You're doing a whole bunch of crap that you're not supposed to be doing, and it's an opportunity for you to reflect on the past year. So I think to a lot of people, the start of the New Year is like a fresh start. It signals kind of a new beginning. It's kind of like the proverbial reset button, right? I compare it to like the last couple of weeks before a new semester starts, when you're like, yo, this semester, I'm going to hit the books hard. I'm not going to party as much. I'm going to stay on top of my readings. And by the first day of class, you show up and you're 3 chapters behind. You're like, fuck, well, next semester I got it. So I that's what, right?
Yeah, this one's already
it's
back.
Like you're finishing the semester, you're like, I got to do better, right? And that's what I compare these New Year's resolutions to. It's kind of interesting. I want to get into a little bit of the history behind these New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, where did this stuff come from?
For my research, the practice of setting New Year's resolutions actually dates back to over 4,000 years. And the first recorded people to celebrate it were the Babylonians. They actually celebrated a 12-day festival called Akitu in March.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the Dominican way.
No,
Yeah, you said that in the most Spanish way possible.
I think it's merengue.
Yeah.
Without a beat.
I think it's A.
I think it's merengue without a beat. Akitu. This was a celebration of the spring planting season. And during the celebration, they would make resolutions to their gods. They would pledge loyalty to their king, and they would pay back their debts.
For them, it wouldn't be a New Year's resolution.
It sounds like a spring cleaning.
It's based off of their agricultural New Year's, so it would be the start of the growing season, not
yes,
the
but
end of the
that was considered
year.
their new year.
Right. But I'm just saying it's not our New Year's resolution. It would be their New. So this
is the precursor.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, it's interesting how their New Year's resolutions would have started in the beginning of a growing season, as if ours is based off of a calendar of a particular season.
So I'm actually going to get into that because a lot of cultures, the planting season does mean a beginning. Well, let me finish with the Babylonians first, right? So they believe that if they kept their resolutions to the gods, they would be looked favorably, and if not, they would fall out of favor from the gods. So that's what we consider the precursor to our resolutions now. So people have been breaking the resolutions since the Babylonians, because I'm pretty sure not all those people were kept. I wonder if the resolutions including exercising more, probably getting more fiber in their diet.
They probably didn't have that issue. They were eating organic.
Probably. And they were probably not living long, so.
Yeah, they'd be going to Trader Gilgamesh's. And buying fresh produce.
She's going to the river and getting some fish.
I also only eat local, organic produce.
So, like, Victor, you might be wondering why the Babylonians celebrated in March, but we celebrate the New Year in January. Well, if you fast forward 500 years, ancient Rome...
Technically, they wouldn't be celebrating in March.
Huh?
What?
Because March was named after Mars, which is a Roman god, so the Babylonians wouldn't call it March.
True.
Are you Babylonian?
Were you there?
How do you know that?
Were you there? Yeah, so
for the record, I have never been to ancient Babylonian.
Well, then you need to stay out of this one. Cut his mic.
You should really
Can you cut his mic?
Don't smart out to me, smart guy.
If you fast forward 500 years, the ancient Rome had a similar practice. So before Julius Caesar, Romans celebrated their New Year in what we would consider March, right? Because March is considered the first month in the Roman calendar. Julius Caesar reformed the calendar and made the New Year on January after the Roman god Janus, who was the god of the beginnings, endings, time, and transition. And he's depicted showing two faces, one that looks into the past and one that looks into the future. So, and on this day, the Romans exchanged gifts and made promises to be better to each other. And that's probably what caused their demise, because you can't be nice to each other. That's for the weak. You got to crush your neighbor and the competition.
But they were not. They were far from nice to each other.
Well, that's probably why they were the demise, because they were lying to each other. They didn't keep their resolutions.
Let's be nice to each other. Is that a Christian over there? Let's throw him to the fucking lions. Let's have him fight a lion.
That sounds great. High five, buddy.
Problem solved.
Over time, the Julian calendar needed to be modified because of miscalculations caused by the leap years. And in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII introduced a new calendar known as the Gregorian calendar, which we follow today. So that's kind of like a little bit of the history of it. Interesting note, New Year's resolutions may have been made in the Middle Ages too. Medieval knights would renew their vow to chivalry by placing their hands on a live or roasted peacock. This was known as a peacock vow, and it would take place at the end of the year, and it was a resolution for the knights to maintain their knightly values. I couldn't really corroborate this fact, so I'm not saying it is a fact. I'm saying it's an interesting note. But for the podcast, let's just go with it.
Why a peacock?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know, bro? Can you cut his mic?
That was Babylonians. We're in the Middle Ages. We're all dead at this point.
Rob would have done it on a roasted goat.
Yes.
For us, a plátano would have been just fine. But a peacock or a pheasant, a peacock was considered the diet of a valiant knight. And also because of the colors made the bird splendid. So it kind of signified king and all that stuff.
And there was much rejoicing.
Chris, do Koreans celebrate the New Year on January 1st?
Well, yes and no.
Oh my
So
God.
there-
Can't it be a simple fucking question?
How is it a maybe, bro? It's only one.
It literally is a yes or no question, not a yes and no
So
question.
there are people that celebrate the beginning of New Year, but also there's people wait until Chinese New Year. Where is that, in like a February or something?
Why do you celebrate Chinese New Year? Shouldn't you celebrate Korean New Year?
Well, that's what they call it in English. I don't know. I don't know. So that's when like everybody, like whole country celebrate. Like they usually get like 3 to 4 days off just from that.
Wait a minute. So the Koreans either pick the Gregorian calendar New Year to celebrate with us, or they choose to celebrate the Chinese New Year sometime in February.
So January 1st is like calendar New Year. So it's more of a celebration, not really a traditional holiday. It's more of a, hey, it's a new year. And then for the Chinese New Year is where like all traditional old Koreans used to celebrate. Like this is where like actual celebration. Like
So it was around the same time.
yeah, around the same. Yep.
So you guys celebrate first on January 1st, right? And then another at the start of the lunar calendar, known as am I saying it right? The Salal?
It's called 설날. 설날.
So, okay.
Yes, so they do follow lunar calendar.
And it falls in January, February, or the second moon following the winter
All
solstice.
right, cool.
So that's like a big celebration. It's like like I said, they get like 3-4 days off. Is
it a bigger celebration than the full moon party in Thailand?
Ooh, I don't know.
Those who know.
Shout out to Copenhagen.
Hey, if you know, you know.
Fun fact, there are 11 different cultures that don't celebrate the New Year on January 1st. You got the celebration of Diwali, runs in October, Tamil in April, and Rosh Hashanah happens in October.
Apparently, the Persians have their own New Year.
Of course they do. They do everything on their own.
It's the March equinox, which would be more of the growing season one. They're still doing it.
They're still out there farming. It's getting tougher.
It's called now. I can't say this for shit.
Say it, bro.
Nowruz.
Sound pretty good to me.
It's Naruz.
I think Rob just summoned the mummy, but
I wouldn't head to Midtown at this point.
You must not read from the book!
So we spoke a little bit about the history of it. Why do you guys think, though, people fail at making these resolutions? Or why do you guys... well, we can actually just even broaden that. Why do you guys think that people fail at keeping up with their goals?
They get too busy.
in life
It's life.
or just their New Year's resolution.
Just the New Year's... Let's keep it that. Just the New Year's resolutions.
People are lazy, bro.
People fail often. And I think when they pick something, the probability of them failing is probably pretty high anyway. So that's probably...
I fail upwards.
I don't.
That's true.
I think you really need a plan. You really need a plan, And for me, I feel like if you're going to do something, the best time to do it is just now. Why wait? If you're waiting to do something, it's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, and plus, like I said, people get busy with their life, but also that there's no pushback. There's like, if I skip one day, like everything's okay. You know what I mean? It's like there's no accountability. Yes.
There's no accountability.
So once that is, it's like, okay, I skipped it. Okay, I'll go next week, and then you miss next week again. And you're like, oh, all right, and then you just forget about it.
Have you ever done a New Year's resolution that you kept through, Chris?
Probably the reading is probably one of them. But like, I don't like to set anything to go to the gym and stuff. I feel like that's like, you should anyway. So I don't set that as a goal.
Do you go to the gym now?
No.
Then you should.
You should put that on there, man. You should probably put it back on there. I was just looking at your gains. Gains have been a little, under.
You should definitely
put that book down. Pick up that dumbbell.
Yeah. Books don't do nothing. Pick up a dumbbell. So resolution is, by definition, a firm decision to do or not do something. And a lot of people fail at these resolutions. The statistics is 88% of people fail. Even though 52% feel confident, they're going to follow through. And a lot of the reasons why are, first one is, if you're going to do a resolution and you're going to create one out of regret, this emotion of regret drives the resolution. So it leads to a negative mindset, self-doubt, which ultimately undermines your efforts to resolution. So instead of saying, I feel like shit, I don't go to the gym, like that harbors negative vibes, and ultimately, it leads to nowhere.
But that's worked for me before.
Yeah.
It wasn't a New Year's resolution, but I remember I went on like a 4-day Memorial Day bender. And after that, I was like, I need to stop drinking for like a month and not touch any alcohol, because I was like, I need to get healthy, or at least just stop drinking for a while. And I was able to do it for an entire month of just, I didn't even have a drop of alcohol of any type for a month.
I agree.
And that was out of regret and shame and negativity.
But do you think you would have been able to be successful at that if you would have pushed that to 6 months or even to a year?
Yes. You know, the biggest problem with that was my own family. Because I would go visit my dad, and him being an older man from a different generation, I would go over to his house and he'd be like, oh, you want a beer? And I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not drinking. He goes, why? What, are you sick? Something wrong? And it's like, can I just not drink?
Of course.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, right? Is there something wrong with you that you're not drinking?
It's a different time then, man. It's a different time then.
I know, right?
There was just, things were so much better.
You know, we could call in a specialist to find my foot in your ass.
Another reason is a lot of these resolutions are not specific. They're ambiguous, and they can be difficult to follow through. So like if you're going to set a goal like lose weight or get in shape, it should be a little bit more measurable for you to have success. And this is one of the reasons that I kind of don't follow through on my resolutions. I set too much. I get overzealous and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I set like 30 of them and I end up like completing 2.
It ain't going to happen. You can't do it that way.
Sometimes I think Victor just mentioned it, external pressures, family issues, unexpected life events can interfere with the ability to focus on resolutions. And you got to build some sort of flexibility in the planning. And a lot of people can't help or manage stress, which just leads to failure in these resolutions. And this was the big one. Some of us ain't ready for change. We say that we do, but old habits die hard. And that's definitely me. I think I've made resolutions a couple of times to like stop eating candy or stop eating so much candy. Nope. Especially gummies. It's the worst. I'm a child.
Oh, like those peach gummies? You ever had
No,
those?
it's like gummy worms.
Oh,
Like Swedish fish.
good for you. Bro.
I hate those.
Really?
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Yeah.
I hate those. Everyone I know, though, loves them.
Never. Weirdos. Chris, you like Swedish fish?
Yeah.
Of
They're all
course.
right.
I
Dude,
knew it.
why is it always me?
I knew it. Like,
And this is
I
Chris's
knew
last
it, like-
episode. Say goodbye to him.
Statistics say 1 out of 4 like Swedish fish. And I just made that up.
But you nailed it.
Another disappointment.
But yeah, some of us ain't ready for change. And, I include myself in there. The lack of accountability. Sometimes you have no one to hold you accountable, not even yourself. And this one's a biggie. Impatience. Change takes time. And if you're not seeing results right away, you get frustrated and it leads to abandonment of resolutions. you got to realize that it's a gradual process. And I'm speaking on for myself. I'm very impatient. Failure to learn from setbacks. So instead of viewing setbacks as failures, sometimes people just like, they get crushed by the setbacks and then just give up.
Like now that I think about it, so if we look at this podcast as a New Year's resolution, it kind of did all of these things. I mean, we weren't negative going into it. We were all super hyped. We had a specific goal. There was accountability. There was external pressures. How many times did we like just have to skip an episode or come up with an idea, or Victor would come out with his episodes to try to counter that. And we failed a lot. I mean, not a lot.
Failing.
I mean, we were still failing.
Still failing.
We have never actually won anything so far, but there was a lot of change and a lot of growth, and I learned a lot doing this. So I think that, I mean, all this kind of hits home when I think about that.
Look at that. I already made you a believer. So I thought this was pretty funny. I came across this. So in 1813, a newspaper published the first recorded phrase, New Year's resolutions. Listen to this. So even in 1813, people were clowning on New Year's resolutioners. They wrote that New Year's resolutions were so common that folks found humor in the idea of making and breaking their pledges. So this is what was actually written in that newspaper.
What was their New Year's resolutions back then? Like, don't get tuberculosis?
Probably. Live the next day.
Yeah, this year I'm going to make it to the next town over.
It's probably why like people were clowning on them, because they're like,
Yeah, you're
everyone's dying left and right. Why are you making a resolution?
You're going to get kicked by a horse and you're going to die.
In 1813,
Stop playing.
life expectancy was about 20 to 39 years. Probably that's why they were shitting on New Year's resolutions.
A lot of people getting kicked by a horse and getting tuberculosis.
So this is what they wrote in that newspaper. Quote, and yet, I believe there are multitudes of people accustomed to receive injunctions of New Year's resolutions who will sin all the month of December with a serious determination of beginning the new year with a new resolution and a new behavior, and with the full belief that they shall thus expiate and wipe away all their former faults. End quote. In simple terms, people who make New Year's resolution do the most in December because they convince themselves that they're going to change come January, which is,
Still true to this day.
it still runs true to this day. Yeah. People don't change.
People just didn't write articles like they do these days. I mean,
No, right?
expiate, Jesus.
I'm pretty sure they had AI back in the day because that was pretty good.
That was pretty. Yeah, I can't write shit like that.
Expiate? I don't even know what that means.
First of all, that article sounds like it would be too long for today's standards anyway. Can we get that in 250 characters in a tweet?
Yeah. That was a Boston newspaper in 1813. Let's play a quick game. I found a poll from Gallup.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's like from Gallup?
Yeah.
Oh.
You never heard that?
I've heard of it. I've heard of Gallup polls, but I thought that was like a type of poll.
No, that's it.
Like you go to Home Depot and you're like, I need a 6-inch Gallup pole.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
So this poll was taken, and I'm going to tell you guys the top 10 New Year's resolutions. And after that, I'm going to ask you guys to guess the date from this resolution.
Ooh, okay.
So the first one, improve my disposition, be more understanding, control my temper. Number 2, improve my character, live a better life. Number 3, stop smoking, smoke less. 4, save more money. 5, stop drinking, drink less. 6, be more religious, go to church more often. Number 7, be more efficient, do a better job. Number 8, take better care of my health. Number 9, take a greater part in home life. And number 10, lose or gain weight. So those were the top 10 resolutions from a Gallup poll. And I'm going to ask you, what year do you guys think that poll was taken in? Was it A, 2015, B, 1990, C, 1960, or D, 1947?
1990.
Any guesses? 1990?
47?
I say the 60.
60?
In the 40s.
In the 40s?
I wouldn't say the 40s because it said smoke less. And they would probably smoking more.
Smoking a ton. You're right.
And they would probably want to smoke more.
Chris, change your answer.
Final answers?
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Locked in?
Locked in.
And the answer was 1947. Chris got it right.
Of course.
76 years and people are still
cheated.
doing the same resolutions, bro. We have not changed one bit. People are still, from 1947, breaking them shits.
Where was the stop communism resolution? How about that?
Listen to today's resolutions. Number 1, lose weight. 2, get organized. 3, spend less, save more. 4, enjoy life to the fullest. 5, stay fit and healthy. 6, learn something exciting. 7, quit smoking. 8, help others fulfill their dreams. 9, fall in love. And 10, spend more time with family. So for the most part, it's the same.
How can you make a resolution to fall in love?
The love fairy.
I've never thought, I can't wait to fall in love.
Sounds like you need to put that on your list.
It is on my list, but I can't just fall. I can't just go, I'm in love now. It's not how it works.
You got to put yourself out there, bro. You got to open up.
Try harder.
Let them try harder, bro.
Love harder.
All harder.
Only way I know how to love is love hard.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. Have a few laughs.
76 years and the list still the same and people still breaking these things. We may never change. Have I convinced those that haven't done New Year's resolutions to at least attempt or try?
No.
I think I'm gonna change. I actually gonna change one of my resolutions that I usually keep every year. To read a book, to listen at least 10 to 12 audiobooks.
He just found a loophole to his own resolution already.
Yeah.
He's already
So good.
making excuses for it.
I think that's part of be more efficient.
I'm going to read books. Actually, I'm going to listen to about the same amount of books. Actually, I'm going to listen to one podcast about a book.
He's efficient.
I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm just going to watch people work out on YouTube.
Here are some reasons why you should make New Year's resolutions. And these you can get on the Forbes website. So maybe if you start doing these New Year's resolutions, you might show up on one of their world's richest people list. Or a lesser known list like Forbes' top 15 zombie-proof business leaders. A little lesser known list, but you might be on top of that. Reason number 1, intention. Self-reflection. If you do New Year's resolutions, you can self-reflect of where you are to where you want to be. And this can give you a clear direction of how to get there. Number 2, hope and engagement. Seems arbitrary, but sometimes you just need a fresh dose of optimism. Doesn't mean things are going to turn around 180 degrees from where you are now. Sometimes being in a better headspace is half the battle.
That dose of optimism, is that an injection or is that a pill I can take?
I think you can inhale it.
Ooh,
Or it's
an
also,
inhaler. A suppository?
yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take 5.
What is wrong with you?
And the last one is inspiration. You making and keeping a resolution can inspire those around you. I myself know that I inspire every one of you on this podcast. How do I know? Because that was one of my new resolutions for last year. Resolution 27, to inspire my friends on a podcast. I wrote that December 31st, 2022. So I know I inspire all of you.
To go back on that, hold on. That was number 27? What were the first 20?
What were the first 26 that you even just did?
I told you I get overzealous.
Jeez.
I told you I get the first
27.
You're not even following your own advice. You're not being specific
No.
with 27.
This was me last year. I'm a changed man.
Oh, yeah. He's up to 50 now.
Because now you're a lot more intense.
The first 26 involve the same things: health, falling in love, and getting my
You're
money
married.
back from my crypto. hey, shh, it's okay.
I'm sorry. I love you.
We learned about why do people fail. Forbes gave us some reasons as to why we should consider doing New Year's resolutions. So after going through all this stuff, you mentioned it earlier, Rob. What do you think are ways for someone who decides to do a resolution to try to keep them?
One of the things I always heard that I thought was pretty interesting was you have to make something a habit. And so you have to do something a minimum amount of times in order for it to be just reoccurring in your body and you hold yourself to it. I think a big thing is accountability, and a habit kind of makes yourself accountable, because if you don't do something, then you start feeling regret. So the one thing I always tried to do was create a habit, which takes time. And then at that point, it just becomes part of your day.
Chris, how did you Well, you said you had a resolution to read, what, 3 to 5 books? You read 3 to 4. How were you able to do that? Shit, he lied to us. He fucking lied to us.
It's actually
That was all bullshit. That was all bullshit. Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
for you guys.
Got your video too.
For me, it
I
was
didn't
like
say anything about books. I don't know what you're talking about.
like I mean, like I know how many books I read so far, like and then looking it back and thinking about it, I was like, shit, I don't read 2 books, or only read 2 books. So, and I was keeping myself accounted for, keeping accountability for myself. So it's just like,
no, bro, you kept yourself accountable. How did you know you only read 2 books then?
because I have pretty good memory.
I mean, he only had to remember 2 things. He just remembered 2 things. That's it. Fuck, how many books did I read?
He would beat himself with the belt in the mirror until he remembered to do it.
That would have been more believable than I have a good memory.
Don't forget, like I said, typically
Don't throw my name into it.
Fine. I don't like reading. I don't like to read. So it's like reading a book or 2 a year was a lot to me. So making it like 3 or 4 or 5 books every year, I usually add 1 book to it, 1 or 2 books.
So this has been a 4-year process for you?
5, 6, 7 year process.
7 years and you're already at 3?
No. Every year I read like 3, 4, 5. This year, but the thing is, this year is when first year I kind of switched over to audiobooks. I got smarter. So
You can't say he gave up on his New Year's resolution because it was the same one he'd started 5 years ago.
Since 1947, it's been the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what he started doing was he started adding books, and then 2 years in, he started reducing the amount of book. So he's back to 1.
Every year starts, he goes, I'm going to read a quarter of a book this year.
But the thing is, like, I know myself. Like, if I say, like, if I'm going to read 12 books, I know I'm not going to do that. So I have to set a reasonable goal for me,
So you're setting an attainable goal.
Yes.
Attainable. Yeah. All right, cool. So you're keeping yourself accountable, attainable goal. You may not be writing stuff down, but you are trying to,
Yeah, every time, if I want to remember my resolution, I'm not going to pull out a fucking list and start,
That's
You
the
know
whole
what I
point
mean?
of the list, Chris.
Yeah, that's
That you
the point
look
of
at the list every day and you say, this is the shit I got to do.
Have you never done a to-do list?
bro, what?
Like,
I don't do
How do you
like I
go
said,
food shopping? How do
I
you
remember
go
food
food
Oh,
shopping.
yeah,
I remember
shopping.
everything. Everything's in my head. I don't
He has a good
write
memory.
anything down.
Do I need 1 bag of bread or 2?
What does the recipe call for? Fuck it, I'll get these chips.
So, Victor, I know you don't do resolutions. You said that if you want to change something, you change it right there, right?
I don't know. Listen, hold on. I'll do a resolution. I don't do a New Year's resolution.
Ah, okay.
What?
Yeah.
You pick like a mid-year resolution?
I go present, right now resolution. Hey, tomorrow, next week, 5 minutes from now, I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to do this. And then I start it.
Oh my God. Yeah, something's wrong with that.
So this is a psycho killer.
You can't
That's what
just
it said.
add mid-year.
I can do whatever I want.
Bro,
No, it's like
It
listen,
doesn't fit
okay,
the
let me
time
explain
continuum.
something to you. It's like insurance. There's like an open enrollment period for resolutions. You can't just you're gonna fuck everything up.
You guys are living in a box. You guys are living confined in a box. Open your world. Be the ambition you want to be.
I live in a cul-de-sac, so I'm not in...
Automatically, that's red flag right there. Cul-de-sac living is a mentally stunting place to be.
When you make a resolution right there and then, how do you follow through on it? What's your strategies to follow through? Or what do you do?
Shame myself.
Yeah, I mean that's usually how children of
works.
immigrants get things done.
Remind myself of how much of a disappointment I am. And then give myself a glimmer of hope that I can leave the life of disappointment that I have been living in by completing at least partially a resolution.
So you track your progress.
Excellent.
Rob, am I wrong? Am
one
I
of
wrong?
things here. No, I mean that's the way I was taught to do things.
Yeah, that's how child of immigrants are raised.
Yeah.
Bro, but it doesn't work
You
all the time,
can't
though.
disappoint other people if you're always disappointed in yourself.
And I think that's why I am where I am.
And
I
that
do the same
little
thing. And I'm
glimmer
like,
of hope that if I complete this one thing, maybe
I
that my
do
family
this.
will look upon me in something that's less than disappointing is just enough to get you across that line.
Yep. The good thing is you never get there.
never. It's like one of Chris's lists on sand. It's just like kind of just washes away.
And the next wave just disappears.
Just washes away.
And the
I
next
remember
New
though.
Year's.
I remember what it was there.
We mortals are but shadows and dust.
All right, so these are some ways you, listener, can keep your New Year's resolution this year. First one, if it works for you, if it doesn't, try it. Avoid wording your resolution negatively using quitting or stopping a behavior. I know that, Rob, it actually works for you.
It does.
I would go with the other one. I would instead create an action that's positive and proactive.
His actions though are positive. He's quitting something that is harmful to him.
Not the actual action itself. I'm saying in terms of like how are you going to phrase it. I'm not going to say I'm quitting something. In the past I would say I'm going to stop doing this.
That sounds
I switched it around to say
that sounds like
I'm
some participation award bullshit.
So if it works, instead of saying I'm gonna stop eating candy, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna eat more vegetables.
I feel like you could take that and go, I'm going to eat more vegetables so I can eat more candy.
Hey, I'm not a perfect man. I'm working on it.
But the reason why I tend to stop things, you got to remember, when I stop things, I only stop them for a certain amount of time. So like my whole thought process is if I go into the new year and I say, listen, I'm just going to stop drinking for the first month, that creates a habit over the first month. So now the second month, you know what I'm doing? I'm drinking, but I'm drinking less because I'm been used to not drinking so much. So then that kind of carries out and takes me into the year. So I think the way
opposite reaction too, because you didn't drink or because you didn't eat for that long, you'll crave more. So
Did you get cravings?
Yeah.
And then you just go back harder?
No, I don't go back harder.
Look
I
at
don't
this
go
guy.
back harder.
Mental
because I
fortitude.
realize that I don't need it. That first week is tough.
See, I find that I try that method and I do exactly what Chris says. Let's say I stop eating candy and I go hard for like a month. The next month, oh boy. But the first sign of it, I crack.
You're defeating the purpose. You just got to power through. Who's at the wheel of your life? Who's at the wheel of your life? Who's driving Caesar's life? Huh? Are you a passenger or are you at the wheel?
I'm a passenger.
I can see that. I can see
After
that.
this podcast,
Well, tell
I'm gonna move
Elon to
over to
stop
driving.
driving the Tesla that is your life. Why don't you jump in the front seat and just take
My
that
Tesla
manual
got
transmission
recalled.
for...
I can't drive it.
I didn't get a new update. My Starlink is down.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
After this podcast, I'm going to take control. The next thing that we can do is, this is a good one. Have you guys, when you guys make goals, have you guys heard of the acronym SMART? Make a SMART goal?
No.
Isn't that like a brand of popcorn?
That's the healthy stuff, right? It's a healthy brand.
I think so.
I think it's just popcorn.
It's as healthy as popcorn can get, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just corn.
The lies just keep going.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing healthy about it.
When you make a SMART goal, it's an acronym, right? So the S stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So S is specific, M is measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. So if you take a goal and you kind of put it in these criterias, it's more likely for you to accomplish that goal. So for me, what I tried to do is I made a SMART goal of trying to read more. Right? So I said, I'm going to read one book every month to have 12 books read by the end of the year, once per month.
These are adult books, right? You're not just reading to your kid, counting as
No, these are adult books. Yeah, these are adult books. So I was specific with that. I was able to measure it because I can, track it. One book a month. It's achievable because it's only one book, right? It's relevant because it's what I want to do. And it's time bound because I gave myself a year to do it. And the next one is you can break down your resolutions into smaller steps. It makes it less overwhelming. The next one is you can create a detailed plan outlining the steps to achieve your resolution. And this one, for me, I don't think is really that realistic. I don't know if you're really going to sit down and make an actual plan. detail it, this and that. But when I think about that, I think of the phrase, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so someone said that to me once, and that's always stuck with me. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
You're still not planning a lot of shit.
I know. That's why I'm failing so much.
I think he's like, this quote stuck with me. I haven't followed it, but it stuck with me.
There's something to it, but
There's something to
this.
I should have done this podcast years ago. I probably would have been better at a better place in my life.
You're a brat.
The next one is you got to prioritize and focus on the most critical actions that will contribute to your success and do them. Have you guys ever heard of the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule? You can apply this principle or this like phenomenon in like all types of industries. Many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. So in other words, 20% of what you do leads to 80% of the results or the problems. So you can apply this, like I said, to all types of industries. So in 2009, a health study found that 20% of patients accounted for 80% of all healthcare expenses.
It was the 80-20 rule. So like 20% of your clientele would give you 80% of your sales.
Exactly. If you have a New Year's resolution and you break it down into steps, if you focus on the most critical aspects of those steps, you're going to get 80% of the accomplishment. I blew my mind when I read that shit. Because like literally weekends come and go and I'm like, damn, like I feel like I've been running around and like I haven't gotten...
You got to follow the Toretto rule.
Family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
And lastly, try to stay positive if you have a positive mindset. I know that Victor uses the other one, uses the shame. And if that works for you, hey, more power to you. What did we learn today? Chris?
I think it's a pretty good idea. I think it's definitely a good way to start a new year. It's definitely like a fresh start, I guess. But
maybe a half a book this year.
Well, Chris went from getting enough books to dropping down to not reading altogether. So I think he's done it. I'm just gonna have someone read to me. Like that's the whole point.
You never heard, don't work harder. You have to work smarter.
Is that the name of your next audiobook?
How is it?
The expression is work smarter, not harder. Not don't work harder, but smarter.
Anyways, whatever he said, that, yes. So once I heard about the audiobooks, I was like, there you go.
How many have you listened to all year?
Well, I started late, like around because I've been reading.
You started in November.
I read so far. I listened to about like 4 or 5. I started around September.
Late. September's the 9th month into the game.
But I only listen when I commute, and my commute is only 20 minutes.
He was planning for the first 8 months.
That you know what? That is hard.
Listen, if he gets in that 20%. At the end of the year, it's
what's
20%
of the
challenge.
Year? That's true.
20%. He only listen. You can essentially get everything done in 4 months.
That's true, bro. Victor, you learned anything, man?
I did. There's a lot of merit to the strategies that you put in or that you gave us. I'm willing to try them out, but not during the new year. It's maybe my throughout the year resolutions. Maybe I'll try them out.
I like it, man. I like that. I'm a procrastinator, so I'll probably start
in September.
Yeah, which one? Which new year? Exactly. Maybe I'll do the Korean one.
Solal.
Jarell?
Solal.
Jarell?
Solal.
Jarell. Solal. Solal.
His tongue doesn't move like that. Yeah.
Solal.
See?
You know what I'm talking
There
about?
you go.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's kind of working for me. You know, I'm successful. Things are going well for me. People like me. So I'm just going to keep going with that.
Got a 6-pack.
I've never lost it.
Who doesn't have one?
So I think I'm just going to keep with that. And you can work on your New Year's resolutions. I I think I have a different approach. I like to set it and forget it. I'm a big believer in creating habits for myself, because then if I develop something for myself, then it just becomes part of my routine. And then I don't have to think about it. And so I live my life on that. So if you want to call it a system, if you want to call it a habit, whatever it is, I just do that and then I continue to do that. And usually it kind of works out in the end. But I think that's the best way for me to do it, because I can't track stuff. I can't write stuff down. I don't like to remember anything. So I just kind of build it into my weekly schedule and see how it goes.
So Rob, what are you quitting this year?
January is no sweets except dark chocolate. And
It's healthy chocolate. It's healthy.
that's just standard.
It's good for the
dark
heart.
chocolate. Yeah, dark chocolate's good for the heart. And then no drinking in January. So no sweets and no drinking. And then usually that kind of bleeds into February because I'm not doing anything anyway. And then come March, April, then I'm drinking and eating like crap again. But I only needed to do it for 20% of the year. So
Couple of takeaways. People have been making New Year's resolutions in one way or another for a very long time. There's a bunch of reasons why most aren't completed. But if you keep them simple, make them smart, focus on the important task, track your progress, and celebrate your small wins, you'll be part of the 9% that follow through. We want to thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to name drop this podcast to your friends and family to stay updated on new content and to join in on the discussion. Check us out on YouTube at I'm Not Dumb But Podcast and on Twitter at I'm Not Dumb But. Please rate, like, and review wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, stay curious. Deuces.
later.